Okay. So I just want to, before going into the discussion or the question answer, could you please give us a keynote, a kind of an intro to the whole thing, which you can give it in 10 or 15 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay.
we are right now in the middle of this war. A lot of people are hoping that it's the end of the war. Many people are asking themselves, what is this war all about? How did it start? So, just in short, it started a little bit over 8 months ago when Hamas terrorists decided to infiltrate into Israel, invade Israel, massacre 1,200 civilians. They burned homes, set on fire people, raped women, kidnapped over 200 civilians. And as a result of that, Israel, of course, had no other choice but to retaliate and officially started to respond to that. And ever since we are at war, I myself was deployed into the Israel Defense Forces. We have had, uh, yeah, we did have to pay a heavy price. A lot of soldiers have made the ultimate sacrifice. And as we are speaking right now, there are rocket sirens happening in northern Israel. So we are having this war from the south and from the north. From the south, it's Hamas. North, it's Hezbollah. And what they have in common is that both of them are radical Islamists. Both of them want to see the destruction of Israel, and both of them have one connection, and it is through the Islamic regime in Iran that sees the annihilation of Israel as their ultimate goal to dominate the Middle East. Because you have to understand that Israel is the one democracy in the Middle East. It's like a sister democracy to India, the largest democracy in the world. So a lot of people that don't like democracies attack Israel. They don't want to see Israel existing because they see Israel as an obstacle to them dominating the Middle East and the world. They want to establish a radical caliphate, and they see Israel as a problem in establishing that. So the war is ongoing. And right now, it's very intense, especially in the north, because the head of Hezbollah, the terror organization Nasrallah, just yesterday gave a speech where he threatened to invade also the Galilee. I was born and raised in the Galilee, by the way, in the north, and this is what we are seeing right now. I have to say, it sounds very complicated, and but it's actually very simple. This is a war between good and evil, radicals and peacemakers. So you have to know where you stand, either on the side of making peace or the side of radicalism. Um, and on yeah, so it's actually crazy to see how it develops, because I have to tell you, when the war started, the world stood with Israel. The world condemned Hamas. But when Israel began retaliating and responding, that's when the support ended. And now they're criticizing Israel. The UN is criticizing Israel, Amnesty, human rights organizations, because they're fine with Jews being victims, but they're not fine with Jews being armed and strong. And I think that many Indians see themselves in this conflict, because also Indian nationals, India as a country, have suffered a lot of radical terror attacks, and we know the taste of it. We know what it is capable of, and we know that at the end of the day, you cannot negotiate with these radicals, because they say, think like us, or you don't have the right to live. It's either you believe in what we believe, or we will kill you. And I'm certain that you can also fill in regards to the mindset of what radicalism stands for. But I have to say that we Israelis are just like the Indian people. We may live far apart, but our hearts are very close. Especially in this war, it really touched our hearts to see People in India standing with Israel. People in India taking the time to to celebrate release of hostages and to cry together with us when we bury our loved ones. Just as we in Israel assimilate and mourn together with India when it is suffering terrorism and celebrate victories together. So I have to say, this war that we are seeing right now in Israel, it's between light and darkness. Our victory is going to be the victory of India as well, because we are one, we are united, and the charter of Hamas terror organization is to see the destruction of Israel. They want to build an Islamic state on top of Israel, and quite frankly, they're not happy with Israel wanting to defend itself. And we see nowadays a lot of people, they question Israel's right to defend itself, and they talk about ceasefire, apartheid, starvation, and I'm hoping we will be able to cover all of that.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think many people have interesting questions like, does Israel starve civilians? Are we occupying? Is there an apartheid? Is there do we mistreat Muslims or Christians, or I don't know what? But I have to tell you, I was there in the Gaza Strip. I entered into the Gaza Strip. I also was on the borders between Israel and the Gaza Strip, and I saw the humanitarian aid trucks entering from Israel into the Gaza Strip. So we'll cover it all, but I have to say that at the end of the day, we don't have the privilege to ceasefire. The day the Arabs, as Golda Meir said, will lay down their weapons, that's the day we will have peace. If we lay down our weapons, there will be no Israel. And in a sense, it's the same for India, because there are enemies that want to see the decline of India, because India is a rising superpower. In the decline of the West, India is a rising power, and there are many countries that do not want to see that happening. So they want to highlight issues, but at the end of the day, in Israel, we don't have this privilege. Just like you don't have this privilege, you have to stand on guard, and we don't have the right to defend our people. We have the duty to do so. When I served in the Israel Defense Forces, it was not to protect the borders of Israel. It was to protect my family. Just imagine what would happen if you had your neighbors wanting to murder you. You would want a strong army to defend you. You would want a strong army to make sure that nothing will happen to you and your loved ones. This is what Israel is doing today. We are not interested in wars. We are interested in peace, but you cannot make peace with radicals. There are good people in Gaza, in Israel, in the Middle East. The problem is with radicals, not with ordinary people that want to live their lives. So that kind of sums up the reality right now. But right now it seems like Israel is getting ready to possible escalation in the north. Our chief of staff, the top general of the Israeli army, visited the north, and he said that many people want to see the end of Israel, but it's not going to happen.
Okay, so that's a wonderful roundup, and I think that gives pretty clear an idea of what's going on and what are the intentions. നമ്മളെ വീഡിയോ കണ്ടുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ആളുകൾ ചാനൽ സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല എന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അത് ചെയ്ത് നമ്മളെ സപ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്യുക. മറ്റു രീതിയിൽ സപ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്ന ആളുകൾക്ക് അതിൻ്റെ ഡീറ്റെയിൽസ് ഡിസ്ക്രിപ്ഷനിലുണ്ട്. നിങ്ങളുടെ ഓരോ ലൈക്കും ഷെയറും അതുപോലെ കമൻ്റ് ഇടുന്നതും ഇതിൽ ഈ വീഡിയോ അതിൻ്റെ താഴെ വരുന്ന കമൻറ്റുകൾക്ക് നിങ്ങൾ പ്രതികരിക്കുന്നതെല്ലാം തന്നെ വീഡിയോയുടെ റീച്ച് കൂടുന്നതിന് വലിയ തോതിൽ ഉപകാരപ്പെടുന്ന സംഗതിയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അതുകൊണ്ട് അതിൽ നിങ്ങൾ ഏർപ്പെടണം എന്നും കൂടി ഞാൻ അഭ്യർത്ഥിക്കുകയാണ്. മറ്റുള്ള രീതിയിലുള്ള സപ്പോർട്ട് തുടർന്നും നിങ്ങളുടെ ഭാഗത്തുനിന്നുണ്ടാവും എന്ന് പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കുന്നു.